So once again, the mainstream media tries to erase Andrew Yang's candidacy. Let's talk about it. Thanks for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. So I don't know if you all knew this, but Andrew Yang had a hell of a fundraising quarter. I mean, he basically outshined almost every Democrat outside of the top two or three, and it really hasn't been widely reported. But I want to go ahead and share with you some of the numbers from Andrew Yang's third quarter. So the Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang hauled in $10 million during the July-September third quarter of fundraising. His campaign announced on Wednesday. That's more than triple the $2.8 million the tech entrepreneur raised during the April-June second quarter of fundraising, and more evidence, along with his rise in public opinion polling, that the long shot for the White House has surged over the summer. Yang also has reported having 6.3 million cash on hand as of the end of September, and noted that his funds will go towards building up staff and infrastructure in early voting primary states and caucuses. So the moral of the story is that man is making some money. Now, it's funny because I told everybody the night of the debate, when everybody was laughing at his quote unquote publicity stunt, they were like, ha ha, he's such a joke. It's so funny. And I was like, okay, I don't think y'all understand this. When you're unknown, there is almost no such thing as bad publicity. And if you're going to be known for anything, when we're talking about the way that I feel like the political sphere has really become like this entertainment value type of thing, and the way to get people to remember your name, if there was ever a way, is to say, hey, sign up for my website and I'll give you some free money. Like, there is no better. I mean, that's kind of why half of the people like Bernie, right? Not necessarily the free money part, but they're like, okay, he's going to give me policies that will enable me to better my livelihood. And once again, there is no better way to better somebody's livelihood than literally say, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000 a month every month for the next 12 months to put my money where my mouth is. Everybody laughed at him, and I said, okay, watch what's going to happen. And look what happened. Man raised $10 million in the third quarter. And once again, it's not being that widely reported. It was reported more so that Cory Booker hit that little, $1.2 million or $2 million goal to stay alive. That was more widely reported than Andrew Yang hitting 10 million, which is, in my humble opinion, absolutely ridiculous. But it gets worse. It actually gets worse. So, you know how MSNBC is, man. They are, excuse me, not MSNBC. I put MSNBC in the title, but you know, CNN and MSNBC kind of, it's basically the same thing at this point. I guess people consider MSNBC a quote unquote a liberal version or a more leftist version of CNN, but they're both pretty bad in my humble opinion. I would say that MSNBC is a little bit more unhinged, if anything. But CNN, y'all, this is what CNN put up as their graphic the other day, talking specifically about third quarter fundraising, which makes it even worse. So here, you see we got Bernie Sanders bringing in a hell of a haul, $25.3 million, most out of any candidate. Shout out to Bernie Sanders. Pete Buttigieg, $19.1 million. I'm sure that JP Morgan, Chase, and Goldman Sachs, 2 or 3 paychecks, you get $19 million too, everybody. Joe Biden still manages to bring in $15 million. Don't know how, but to my understanding, both Buttigieg and Biden and even Kamala are literally they're blowing through their money faster than they can bring it in, which is leaving them largely in debt from what I've seen. And as you can see in last place, that's Andrew Yang, right? Hold up real quick. Andrew, bro, when did you shave your hair? And is that a tan? When did Andrew Yang get a tan? That's really weird. I don't remember Andrew Yang being bald and having a tan. And I think they even got his fundraising numbers wrong. And he's not a senator, CNN. What are you talking about? Oh, that's right. That's because They actually didn't put Andrew Yang's face here. They put Cory Booker's face here. Are you kidding me, bruh? This is what they're showing. They're showing the best fundraisers of the quarter. Bernie, Buttigieg, in there. Oh, what makes it even worse, here's what's so audacious about this. You're going to put them first through fifth in that order. Like in the correct order of amount fundraised. And then you're going to skip from Kamala Harris to Cory Booker. Despite the fact, like I just told you, Andrew Yang brought in $10 million. Brought in $10 million. And yet they put Cory Booker up there rather than Andrew Yang. But it gets even worse. So I'm going to show you all what the Daily Kos polls, the straw polls that everybody likes to participate in. Andrew Yang actually tends to do pretty damn well in these polls. And it's probably because he's a lot of his following, is through social media. I think he spends more money on social media advertising than any other candidate, which is fine, right? When you're a quote unquote anti-establishment candidate or an outsider candidate, you have to take advantage of avenues that other candidates are not traditionally using. So this is what Daily Kos put. Andrew Yang would be at 0% if Daily Kos straw poll excluded outside spamming. Excluded outside spamming. What does that even mean? Also, are you saying that Andrew Yang is the only person who has people that might spam the polls? Maybe they'll vote twice or three times rather than once. Andrew Yang is the only person that I'm not saying that he doesn't have anybody that does that, but I'm absolutely positive that bots running amok in these straw polls is basically the norm, especially for the establishment favor of the week. Remember, at one point, Kamala Harris was getting numbers like this. Another point, Elizabeth Warren's numbers were shooting out the roof, and they were alternating for a while. I remember at one point, Beto O'Rourke had ridiculous numbers in a Daily Kos straw poll, and you were like, why isn't any of his other numbers reflecting this? He isn't getting the crowd turnout. He isn't getting the fundraising. His popularity isn't that high, and yet he's doing well on this particular poll. And it's because they have people going to spam these polls. This isn't news. But they're trying to undermine and belittle the man's campaign, which is ridiculous. Once again, you all know what I have to say about this. If the policies are not welcomed, if he's taking corporate money, which to my knowledge he isn't yet, if he gets caught lying, all of these things will be the demise of any particular candidate's campaign. If you are campaigning for your preferred candidate, then you can campaign on the truth about your preferred candidate without lying about somebody else's candidate, without delegitimizing someone else's candidate in an illegitimate way. You can delegitimize them, but don't do it in an illegitimate way. So my response to this nonsense was Andrew Yang raised $10 million in the third quarter, all from unique individual donors and no corporate bundling. Pretending that 10 million doesn't equal legitimate excitement shows elites like the ones within the Daily Kos still do not get it. Because they don't. They don't. Everybody at this point probably knows that I'm a Tulsi Gabbard supporter, right? I think everybody knows that by now. And I have my issues with Yang as far as some of his policies are concerned. But to pretend like this man does not have excitement, to pretend like this man is just some one-off. Bro, you don't raise 10 million in a quarter as a one-off. How many other establishment candidates are running right? You notice Amy Klobuchar's name was not up there. Did y'all notice that? Who is participating in the next debates is already qualified. Beto O'Rourke's name is not up there. Although she's participating in this debate, is already qualified. So why is it Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. I thought that for some reason I don't remember reading Warren's name. This is weird. Well, I guess maybe Warren hadn't reported it yet, but according to that poll, Warren wasn't in the top 5 for fundraising. Although I'm pretty sure she raised at least 15 to 20 million, at least that. But you cannot pretend like this is not democracy. This is not democracy. This is why I was so in favor of Tulsi introducing the bill to restore the fairness doctrine, to make sure that we have parity and honesty in media, because this is not it. It doesn't matter if Andrew Yang is your preferred candidate. Doesn't matter. What matters is if they can do it to Andrew Yang, who just raised 10 million, they can do it to your preferred candidate. And if it isn't now, it will be before this election is over. I've seen Bernie Sanders break a shit ton of records, people, and still have his candidacy erased. And people now, some the tables have kind of turned in a sense, because now Bernie is one of the most top 2, in a field of a lot of different candidates. And so some people think that if we ignore a little thing like this about other people's candidates, that our candidate might not be affected. And that's not how it works. The DNC is counting on you to be silent in instances like this so that you have no leg to stand on when they screw your person over, because they'll just call you a sore loser. That's exactly what you'll look like, because you didn't speak up when the other candidates were getting screwed over. Just saying. The manipulation of media is another example of vote suppression. Manipulation of media is voter suppression. That is exactly how they kept black people in 2016 from finding out about Bernie. Okay? That is exactly how Joe Biden has even been able to kind of stay in this race, because his name has been said more than anybody else's. Like 10 or 20 times more than anybody else's, while simultaneously not saying other candidates' names who are generating legitimate interest. So if you don't think that this is voter suppression, think again. Races have been determined by this type of manipulation. Candidates have been undermined by this type of manipulation. Consent has been manufactured from this type of manipulation. And we can't forget that. So when you see instances like this, whether or not it's your candidate, always speak up, people. Always. Always, always, always. And other than that, for everybody else, always remember, find your balance. Peace. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Also, you can help us upgrade the studio and take this show on the road to cover the on-the-ground politics that you love by clicking on that GoFundMe link in the description and donating literally anything. Anything helps. Also, you can follow us on Rockfin, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. And hey, more than anything else, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.